Baby. This is the one we've been waiting for I think an entire year, maybe longer. Apple this morning just announced the 16-inch MacBook Pro, and I've been looking over the specs all morning long, and I'm telling you, these nips, boing, they're at full mast. Okay, so this isn't the big redesign that we were expecting, at least not externally. It looks like Apple took all of these great updates and crammed them into the body of the current 15-inch design, which I'm okay with. But they did it right. They updated a ton of stuff within the computer, which we're gonna talk about in just a sec. And they did a huge price drop, which is built in. In fact, let's start with that. This MacBook Pro includes the all-new AMD 5000M GPU. Now, the previous best GPU was the Vega 20, and you had to pay Apple, I think, $100 to update to that GPU. The AMD 5000M is given to you for free in the base price of the 16-inch MacBook Pro. They're not charging you for that update, which saves you some money right there. But here's where the huge cost savings is built in. Apple has doubled the size of the SSD, so instead of getting a 512, a 1 terabyte, a 2 terabyte, and a 4 terabyte like you could with the previous model, you get a 1 terabyte, a 2 terabyte, a 4 terabyte, or an 8 terabyte. But they're giving you the 1 terabyte model for free. Oh, baby. That same upgrade, I think, was $500. In fact, I have that upgrade in this machine right here. I paid $4,300 for this machine. This machine spec'd out the exact same way in the 16-inch MacBook Pro, only costs $3,200. That's because you're not paying to upgrade the GPU, and you're not paying to upgrade to the larger SSD, which saves you a ton of money. Now, this is a 2018, but funny enough, the refurbished 2019 MacBook Pro, which Apple's selling right now, spec'd out the same way as a 16-inch MacBook Pro, is $3,200. It's the same price as the brand new machine. That's how much of a price drop is built in to this 16-inch MacBook Pro. So that right there might be the marquee feature. Apple is including the best GPU that they have. They're also including a pro level amount of storage. 1 terabyte at the very least needs to be the minimum, and they're giving that to you for no additional cost. Of course, now we need to talk about the screen. This is the same screen as far as I can tell. It has the same P3 wide color support, the same 500 nits of brightness as the previous MacBook Pro, but it's a little bit large now. They reduced the bezels all around it. I was expecting the liquid retina with the rounded corners. They didn't include that, but a welcome change for sure. We can all use more screen real estate, and you're not paying anything more for it because the base price of the 16-inch MacBook Pro is the same as the base price of the previous generation MacBook Pro. Now, the other big feature, the Scissor mechanism keyboard is back. This replaces the butterfly keyboard, which Apple has had tons of problems with. They've had to extend their warranties on every MacBook Pro that features it because people kept having stuck buttons or buttons that would constantly repeat themselves. The Scissor mechanism is the default standard in the world of keyboards. It's the most reliable. It's the one that's been around forever. Apple should have never moved away from it, and it has more travel. And if you're like me, the butterfly mechanism keyboard, it's way too shallow. You feel like you're typing on glass. I like a little cushion in my pushing. And when I use the Scissor mechanism keyboard, a good one will just give me the chills because it has just the right amount of play underneath, and the key actually moves up and down. So you're getting a vastly more reliable keyboard, and it's gonna have a much better typing sensation for you. That's gonna be a massive improvement for anyone who uses the keyboard a lot. Now, here's a big one that's not gonna get any attention. This new 16-inch MacBook Pro uses the same 8th gen i9 Intel 8-core CPU. I was kind of hoping they would update it, but you know, it hasn't been out that long, so it's not surprising that they're still using it. But Apple has completely overhauled the thermal cooling design. This laptop design, because it's so thin, has a major problem cooling silicon. And when the CPU gets hot, it has to throttle back. You end up not getting the full performance than you otherwise would. In fact, there's a lot of PCs out there that will use the exact same CPU that's in the MacBook Pro, and they will use them at a much faster clock speed because they have much better cooling mechanisms built in. Well, here we go. Apple took notice, and they made some big changes, saying the thermal architecture of the new MacBook Pro has been completely redesigned, featuring larger impellers, improved fan blades, and optimal airflow and more heat dispersing fins for more effective cooling. The resulting gain in cooling capacity allows MacBook Pro to deliver up to 12 watts more maximum sustained power. More watts equals more heat. This new cooling design is more efficient, they can pump in more juice and keep the CPU at a higher clock speed, which means you're gonna get much better performance out of this CPU. Now let's touch back on that new GPU that Apple is giving you, the AMD 5000M. They're being real coy about the performance. They're not saying exactly what it can do. They did say that it is up to 90% faster in color grading applications. You know, if you edit videos, you know what that is. But again, they're giving it to you for free, so you're not paying anything for it. If you do want to double the available RAM inside the GPU from 4 gigabytes to 8 gigabytes, you could pay them $100, which, you know, I'm not sure how much of a difference that's gonna make. But if you're doing a lot of video work or things that are very graphics intensive, like fluid dynamics calculations or something, then maybe that might be worth it to you. But I think the marquee feature is you're getting Apple's best GPU for free now, instead of having to pay them to upgrade from some old and crusty GPU like the 560X, which should never have been in the updated MacBook Pros in the first place. The RAM has been slightly updated as well. Now you still get the same base 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is kind of a bummer, but you can upgrade it to 32 or 64 gigabytes if you want, and the clock speed has increased from 2400 megahertz to 2666 megahertz. A slight performance increase, but you know what? It's included for free, I'll take it. Now, unfortunately, the touch bar is still there. Well, maybe some of you like it, but it has an updated design. So now it sits between an all-new escape key on the left, which I'm sure some people will be very happy to hear about, and a Touch ID button on the right. But my favorite part is, in all the marketing material, it's so verbose. There's so much written about all the new features, but then you get to the touch bar and it's just like, yeah, the touch bar is still here. You can use it for shortcuts, and then that's it. They just move on. There's an all-new audio system, which is interesting. So the previous MacBook Pro had a 2-speaker stereo system. The new MacBook Pro has 6 speakers, and they support Dolby Atmos. They also have a new feature they're calling Dual Force, which actually I really like the sound of. And basically it's noise canceling woofers, which cause less system vibrations. So when you're playing things that are really loud, you won't hear like rattling inside your MacBook Pro. And they also say they're able to provide a lot more bass. I doubt this thing's gonna bring the thunder, but you know what? Maybe you'll hear your bass a little bit better. I'm not gonna complain about that. They're also saying that the mics are significantly upgraded and are more professional sounding. Of course, we're gonna have to test this. They're saying that you could record an actual podcast just with the MacBook Pro mics. I don't know about that. We're gonna have to test that out. I have a lot of good mics. I've never heard a computer with mics that match any kind of USB mic or professional mic, but maybe in a pinch you could get by. That's probably what they're talking about. But in any case, now you get a 3-mic array that is supposed to be much cleaner sounding and maybe even be able to use for some short podcast or some short audio recording if you're in a pinch. Here's another small but significant update. You also get a slightly larger battery, and Apple is saying that it provides up to 10% better battery life. So on the old MacBook Pro, they say you could get like 10 hours of web surfing. On the new 16-inch MacBook Pro, they're saying you can get up to 11 hours. So hey, I'm always one to appreciate better battery life. Anything that Apple can squeeze out of a battery, I'm happy about. So you get improved battery life with this model as well. Now here's an interesting thing. The power adapter has been updated from 87 watts to 96 watts. Now that's probably because the battery is larger and this computer, I think, draws more energy, but it could also mean that you'll be able to charge this computer faster than you could the previous gen MacBook Pro, even while you're using it. Now that's just me theorizing here. I don't know exactly what's gonna happen, but it is a significantly larger power adapter, so you could see significantly decreased charging times. Now you might be wondering about the ports. Well, it's the same Thunderbolt USB-C combination. There's still 40 gigabits per second of Thunderbolt transfer speed and also the same Bluetooth 5 support. But let's talk about the one thing that I was really hoping that we were gonna get on this MacBook Pro, and unfortunately we didn't get. That is more diverse I/O. We just have these 2 Thunderbolt 3/USB-C ports on each side. Could you not have tossed in a couple of USB-A, Phil? Just a couple, maybe just one. Lots of people still need USB-A. Everything is still USB-A. So you could have undongle us from this dongle nightmare and let us have just some regular USB ports. And the other big thing that I miss, and I know a lot of people out there really found useful, is an SD card slot. I don't know why they ever pulled that out. Phil Schiller said that it wasn't a professional port. Well, I'm a pro, Phil, and I know lots of pros, and we all use SD cards for everything. And now you have to carry around an SD card reader, and guess what? None of them are made in USB-C. So you have to have a dongle for your SD card reader, and now you're double dongling, and I'm not trying to live that double dongle life. Okay, I need to calm down. I'm getting real excited. I am so looking forward to getting my hands on this MacBook Pro. I'm definitely buying one. This machine that I have here spec'd the same way as almost $1,000 cheaper on the new MacBook Pro. That's significant. I have to really give Apple praise for paying attention to the criticism that was out there, and they obviously were, and bringing the price down on this machine and giving us some pro level specs without nickel and diming us for every feature. That was one of the things that was annoying me a lot. I know there's a lot of criticism out there for Apple about how expensive their machines were getting. I mean, $4,300 for a laptop. $4,300 for a laptop. That's wild. That's way too high. And now this same machine is in the low threes. That's much more palatable. And I think that people are gonna be much happier knowing that they're getting a great amount of base specs without having to spend an extra $1,000. That's it for me. I've gone on and on long enough. Let me know what you think of new MacBook Pro in the comments below. Are you as excited as I am? I'm gonna have to be wearing Band-Aids for the next week until this machine arrives, maybe longer. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up there. My name's Erfon Elijah, Gadget Hunter. I'm on the prowl for all the best gadgets, all the best tech. It's coming to this channel one way or another. If you like this content, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to catch more videos just like this. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up there. And I'll see you gums next time.